Okay, this is going to be quite a brief recording. We're going to talk very generally about graphing functions. And the only point we really want to make here is that graphing functions is done just the same as graphing equations. So suppose you have f of x equals x squared. The graph of this is the same as the graph of y equals x squared. These both, we'll talk about these graphs pretty soon, but this is what the graph looks like. This is x, and this is f of x, or it could be y, because as I just said, whether you have f of x here or whether you have y, so whether this is the y-axis or this is the f of x axis, the graph is going to be the same. And contrary to what I said, I guess I do have one more point to make about graphing functions. You can graph functions, just replace the f of x with y and go to your calculator or Desmos.com or otherwise get a graph. Conversely, however, not every graph is the graph of a function. Why not? Remember that points on this graph have the form input, comma, output. And consider the following graph. A circle with the radius 2 centered at the origin. So this is the point 0, 2. And this is the point 0, -2. If this were a function, well, it isn't. The input 0 has an output 2 and an output -2. And the one thing we've said that a function has to satisfy is that one input cannot have multiple outputs. So this is not the graph of a function. We showed that by looking at these 2 points. which lie above and below one another on a vertical line. With that as our motivation, let's state the vertical line test. A graph is the graph of a function if no vertical line you can draw touches it more than once. So the y-axis is a vertical line that touched this graph twice. It's not a function. On the other hand, if we had a graph that looks like this, it is the graph of a function. Every vertical line you would draw can hit the graph only once.